Do you feel like you're doing everything right when it comes to building muscle? You're lifting heavy? You're following a workout plan, but for some reason, your gains are just not what they should be. Well, the problem could be that you're remaking one or more of these 7 diet mistakes that are sabotaging your muscle gains. And the crazy thing is all 7 of these mistakes have something to do with protein, which is supposed to be the primary nutrient for muscle growth. The first protein mistake that can sabotage your results is drinking too many protein shakes. Now, don't get me wrong, protein shakes are great because they're convenient and they give you a way to quickly get a bunch of protein without having to chew on a bunch of food. However, there's actually such a thing as getting too much protein, especially if you already eat enough protein throughout the day from food. According to a study published in the Journal of Nutrition, the optimal amount of protein for muscle growth is between 1.6 and 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight per day. So let's say you weigh 80 kilograms. That means that you only need about 128 to 176 grams of protein per day for muscle growth. If you get this much protein from food, then there's no need to drink protein shakes, because any excess protein that you do unused for muscle growth will simply be converted into glucose and then stored as fat. Now, another common mistake is eating too much protein. Just like consuming too much protein overall, eating too much protein at a single meal can also prevent muscle growth. Research shows that the maximum amount of amino acids that our bodies can absorb at a single time is about 25 to 35 grams. Any extra protein that we consume during a meal will be wasted. So, for example, if you were to consume a steak that provides you with 45 grams of protein, you would only be able to absorb 25 to 35 grams of that protein, while the rest goes to waste. This is why research shows that people who spread out their protein intake throughout the day are able to build more muscle than people that get most of their protein from 1 or 2 large meals. Another issue is that you may be failing to take advantage of the anabolic window. The anabolic window refers to the short period of time, roughly an hour, after a workout where your body is primed to absorb and utilize nutrients better than at any other time of the day. This enhanced ability to absorb nutrients is due to a process known as muscle glycogen resynthesis. When you work out, you deplete your muscle glycogen stores. After exercise, your body works to replenish those glycogen stores. And that process enhances your body's ability to absorb nutrients like protein and carbs for a limited time post-workout. To take advantage of the anabolic window, it's important to consume a combination of fast-digesting carbs and whey protein shortly after your workout to help kickstart the muscle recovery and growth process. Now, moving on to the next mistake, you might be focusing too much on protein quality and not quantity. There is no doubt that the quality of your protein sources does matter, because different foods have different digestibility-corrected amino acid scores. This basically means that different foods have different amounts of essential amino acids. For example, whey protein has a digestibility-corrected amino acid score of 1, whereas beef, chicken, pork, and salmon all have a digestibility-corrected amino acid score of 0.9. Egg whites have a score of 0.92. On the other hand, plant-based sources like edamame have a score of 0.89, even though a lower number may sound worse. Anything over 0.7 is considered a complete protein. It simply means that the food source isn't as bioavailable as some of the others. And the difference in digestibility-corrected amino acid scores between these foods, and likely make a huge difference in terms of muscle gains. Instead, you should focus more on getting enough total protein rather than worrying too much about the quality of your protein sources. A big part of this is that you might be relying on unhealthy protein sources. Lean meats like chicken breast and turkey are always good options. But there are plenty of other protein sources that you can rely on. For example, Greek yogurt is high in protein and low in fat, so it's a great option if you're looking to reduce your overall calorie intake. Then we have fish, which is very high in protein and healthy fats. If you can't afford meat or fish, you can turn to plant-based protein sources like beans, peas, nuts, and seeds. Even though plant proteins tend to have slightly less bioavailability, they still work well as long as you combine them with either rice or beans. Another protein source that a lot of people turn to is protein powders. And while these can be useful, you want to choose the right type of protein powder. Whey protein is generally considered the best because it has a high PDCAA score of 1, making it highly bioavailable. Plus, it's been shown to promote muscle growth better than other protein sources. Whey protein is also digested and absorbed quickly, which is beneficial for stimulating muscle protein synthesis. Alternatively, casein protein is another popular choice. Unlike whey, casein is digested and absorbed more slowly, providing a gradual release of amino acids into the bloodstream. This can be beneficial for individuals who are looking to reduce muscle protein breakdown, or for those who prefer to consume larger, space-frequent meals. Next, you might be neglecting your carbs. Carbs often get a bad reputation, and a lot of people avoid them altogether when trying to build muscle. However, reducing carbs too much can actually slow down your progress. You see, carbs are the primary source of energy for high-intensity workouts. Without sufficient carb intake, you may experience fatigue, decreased performance, and reduced strength and endurance. All of these can lead to fewer reps and an overall less effective workout. Carbs also play a crucial role in muscle recovery by helping to restore muscle glycogen levels, which can speed up the recovery process and reduce muscle damage. By consuming carbs after a workout, you can replenish your glycogen stores and support overall muscle health. Not getting enough carbs can lead to a catabolic state where your body breaks down muscle tissue for energy, which is obviously not ideal for muscle growth. A good rule of thumb is to aim for 40 to 60% of your calories coming from carbs. Last but not least, you may be making unhealthy food swaps. When you try to cut back on unhealthy foods, it's important to replace them with healthy alternatives. Unfortunately, a lot of times people end up making unhealthy food swaps. For example, let's say you decide to swap out white rice for brown rice. Brown rice is definitely healthier because it's more nutritious and has a lower glycemic index. But if you do unadjust the portion size and you end up eating twice as much brown rice as you used to eat white rice, you'll end up consuming more calories than before, which can prevent muscle gain. So before you make any food swaps, consider how the new food fits into your daily calorie and macro goals. So that about wraps it up. I really hope this video helped you out. If it did, make sure you stay tuned for more content. Also, if you want a done-for-you program that requires no guesswork, that's tailored to your preferences and comes with a coach, I'll see you guys soon.